When did you start to feel like, okay, this could be something?
So
how many years of a real grind was it?
So what happened was I'm doing comedy, become a physical therapist, and I'm doing them simultaneously, right? And I'm doing physical therapy during the day. I mean, I'm getting in there at 7 a.m. I was a pediatric physical therapist, work with like mentally and physically handicapped kids right over here in Chelsea.
Okay.
PS 133. Shout out PS 133 and 138. I'm sorry, at PS 33. And they were great kids, work with them, and I get there early at 7 a.m. work with them till 3. And then I would kill some time, write some jokes, and this first open mic would start at 5 p.m. There was a place called the Laugh Lounge. There was a place called the Maui Taco. We would run around with Sam Morrill and Mark Norman, all these guys. We all started together. Michael Che, Pete Davidson, all guys that went on to become big stars. We all running around, roommates, no money, just feeling it all out. And so I would do these comedy open mics, keep going, burning the candle at both ends. Lost my relationship with my girlfriend, put on 40 pounds, there's sacrifices that happen where it's like I am just laser focused on comedy and physical therapy. And then I got on this show called Guy Code, MTV's Guy Code, which was a humongous show for high school and college kids in the early 2000s, in the mid 2000s, 2010, 2011, 2012. So I got on that show. I auditioned just, as a complete nobody. What had happened was sometimes fate helps you. By just showing up, just making the effort. I was on a show at Eastville Comedy Club. It's no longer there. And the MTV scouts were there to watch another comedian. This guy, Damian Lemon. Shout out Damian. Great guy. They were there to watch Damian. And he was running a little bit late because there was a lot of problems with the train. It was a torrential downpour that day, coincidentally. So I'm just sitting there as an open mic comic, but the club knew me because I was like a gym rat. Yeah. I was like a comedy club rat. I was just always there. And so the owner of the club says, hey, we need to fill a few minutes. Just go up there until Damien comes. And didn't tell me people are there. He's just like, just go because they need a body up there. All I was a body to provide time until the real guy gets there. So I'm up there, fully relaxed, doing my stuff, playing. There wasn't even that many people in the crowd, maybe 20. But two of the people, this one guy, Jim Serpico, and Dennis Leary, who's, obviously Dennis Leary, and they owned a production company called Apostle Productions. And they saw me. And then, and I didn't even know. And then I get an email the next day from Apostle. They say, this guy, Conan Smith, great manager, he messaged me. He says, hey, my colleague saw you last night at the club. We want to have a conversation with you. We think you have something. So I meet them, and I'm nervous. I really am. I'm like and I'm thinking in my head, I'm going to go into this office, and I'm going to have to defend myself. It's worth the risk right now. I think I'll talk about it, but I'm like literally, I walked into this office with the keys in my hands. Like to make like little claws like Wolverine. You learn that growing up in the city. It's like walking down the street from the train. I got Wolverine claws. So you can fight me, but you're going to get scratched. So I walk in and opens the door to this beautiful office, Dennis Leary. And he's celebrity. I know him. I'm like, oh, wow, this is real. So they sit me down and they're like, listen, we think we can help you here. You have some talent. And then they start getting me the auditions. And one of them was the MTV's Guy Code. They said they were going to put me on just for one episode. They said, just do one episode. That's all you got. But make it a good opportunity for you. It'll be on MTV. That's great. Just one. So I remember 4 hours. I remember my dad and I went to see the Yankees and the Orioles in Baltimore. And I was filming the next day. And I was like, oh, I got this, thing the next day. And my dad was like, did you prepare? And I said, well, I was going to do it after the game. He goes, no. Instead of driving, now we're going to get on the train. We're going to get on Amtrak, and you're going to write. You're going to work on this 4-hour train ride, and then we'll go to the Yankee game, and then you'll write. You're going to make sure you're prepared for that. And I went in. I came in that next day to MTV. They said every other comedian had like maybe a page of notes. I had like 6-7 pages of notes like that. Just jokes. And I went in there, and it was just drilling them. And I could see the producers and the directors talking a little bit off camera. And then as soon as I was done filming, they were like, do you want to come in again tomorrow? And so I said, yeah, absolutely. And then they gave me more work. And then next thing you know, after a couple of weeks, they just put me on the season. They were like, okay, now we thought you were just going to be a fill-in. Now you'll be on the cast.
Cool.
And so, and then I start doing that show. And then MTV starts to come to me. They come to me a few months later and they say, hey, you've been working on a lot of our shows. We want to sign you to an overall deal. But it's going to require you quitting your physical therapy job. And so I was like, oh man, that's like a big decision. I don't know. And then I spoke to my dad about it again, and he was like, you have to take a chance. He was like, even if this doesn't work out, you can live in my basement. You'll deal. He was like, your mother's gonna be upset by it, and he's like, what isn't that lady ever gonna be upset by? She's gonna be upset regardless. You might as well upset her doing something you love. And so I was like, you know what, you're right. And then
your dad seems like a smart dude.
Smart, and you know what's funny about my dad? One of the smartest, most wise men I've ever met. I think he got through 7th grade. Maybe he's just street smart. That means something,
sure.
You know. And so I did the physical. I left physical therapy, and the principal at the time of the school told me I was making the biggest mistake ever. I'm never going to make it. Comedy, it's such a small chance of making it. You have a steady career here. You have health insurance. Like, she was like, it's okay to just be ordinary. Just don't take risks. She was like, everyone always tells people to take risks. I don't know why they
kind of the opposite.
Opposite. And I was like, and then I was like, you know what? No, let me do it. And so I did it. And then that was in 2013. And then
and that was kind of the first time you start to think about, this is my future.
Well,
now, for real.
For real. Well, because just from a financial point of view, they that overall deal had like doubled my physical therapy salary. So now I'm getting paid enough money to do what I love. Yeah. And, I kept the one thing my mom made me promise her, and I have. She's like, can you just always, even if you never go back to it, just always make sure your physical therapy license stays up to date. Always. And I said, all right. So I still am, even though I haven't practiced physical therapy since 2013, it's 2025, I still am a licensed physical therapist.
That's
if anybody
great.
has any injuries, I'm your guy. I can legally touch you. Yeah.